Here we go.
I want to tell you my secret now. I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake? Dead people like in graves, in coffins?
Walking around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead.
How often do you see them?
All the time. They're everywhere.
It is Tuesday, the 8th of October, 2013. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show then. Okay, getting a little bit of interference, I think. We started all the radio stations' decoders at one time, and I'm led to believe that we're having a little bit of trouble, so I'll get some information as we go. But we are recording the show as well.
We are.
Okay, so this show will be edited on YouTube tomorrow. And below that YouTube will be my Facebook.
And my Facebook.
And Phil, our VT editor's Facebook as well. Because YouTube doesn't let us play all the clips, do they? They ask us to take the clips out or take the music out. We have to edit it so it can go onto YouTube, despite the fact that YouTube can actually play all the tunes they want, and most people know how to download them, but we can't do that. So the entire show is below the YouTube video you're watching now, if in fact that's what you're doing. If you're listening live on Awake, radio.co.uk, or the Shaziz Radio Network, or Blog Talk, thank you for doing so. That gets us into many homes around the world, and if you're giving us your time, we're very grateful for it.
Yeah.
So, rather than ask how you are, my friend, let's go with what we started with a little bit earlier, which was the Radio 4 lady.
Yes, Radio 4
because
lady.
This fits into an entire theme that we've got this evening.
It does, yeah.
Of the very near future.
Isn't it quite spooky how I've not seen you before. It's been a week, I think, since I saw you last.
Well, no, I mean, that's a whole week.
But
that's a whole week that I haven't seen you.
It is.
You're normally coming for coffee or something. That's a whole week.
I'm ready for my respite care, I tell you.
Yeah.
But it was spooky that I was listening to Radio 4 this morning on my way to work, and the lady from Southampton University, I think she's head of computer science there.
Right.
I can't remember the lady's name, but if you want to go and find it on the Radio 4 site, then go and listen to it. But she said that the computers that they've built now, you can put any question you want into the computer and it will give you the answer.
Now, this is different to what we're talking. People are thinking Google already does that.
No.
But what is it you're saying
she
here?
She said the computers that we have, or that you've got at home, pretty much all the information's been preloaded onto that anyway.
Yes.
And the server that you go onto has got the information. So if you type in what year did Elvis die, and it comes up with the year that Elvis died. Mm-hmm. To put it into context with the computers that they've got, they can put that information in, and if Elvis was still alive and said, when is Elvis going to die? And it will give you the answer. And now that is it sent shivers down my spine while I was listening to it. And how she finished off the interview was, it took us quite a long time to create the computers that we've got today, and the computing power that we've got today from this God-given gift. God-given gift that we've produced for everybody.
So this God-given. Now we've heard that before, haven't we? We've heard this God because
we have.
But God didn't give us this.
No.
He gave us. If you're okay with God, I'm okay with good. Actually,
I'm okay with good.
I just put the word God. I just put another O in it. Put the word good in every sentence that God appears, and for me, that makes the most sense right now. Now, if you want to believe that there is a God, a deity that made all this that is greater than us, I wouldn't dream of trying to argue with you, because I think you might be right. I'm pretty sure that there's something more, but for us to try and decode it today, here and now, would be to defy what's been tried to be done for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So I guess a God-given... it is a God-given machine in a way because he gave us the ability to make it.
I think that's the way they're interpreted.
Yeah.
But the scary thing was how she finished the interview was that it's taken us a lot of years to get to the computers, to the artificial intelligence that they are now.
Yes.
But it won't take us that long to switch them all off.
It is very hard, isn't it, to actually speak to what would be just a general member of the public. Because I know, listening to us right now, you're very comfortable with the reality that you've discovered. And it may look a little different to ours, but the one thing that I think we will have in common is that it's not like you thought it was.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. And you see the control system for what it is. You now accept that it exists. You don't accept for it to exist, but you know it does.
Yeah.
And, over the past few weeks, if you've been listening to us, we have taken our journey, haven't we? We've taken our journey in a way that we've tried to read what it is that the people above us have read prior to today.
Yeah.
And we've tried to... First of all, we've shown everybody our embarrassment that we're far too old to be learning this. We should have known this an awful long time ago. And we didn't.
No.
And
we were young and arrogant.
And maybe it wasn't our time to learn it.
No.
But that doesn't quite fit in with, but it was somebody else's time to learn it. You see what I mean?
I know, I do.
You can say, we were too young. We couldn't absorb this information. It isn't for people under a certain age. Well, it appears it is for some people under a certain age, because this is the university reading that they were given. So... I'm afraid that argument doesn't stack up, does it?
No, it doesn't stack up under those circumstances.
I've been talking about socialism and Karl Marx, and I've heard people comment that these are bad systems, and these are people that we shouldn't read, and these people were. And let me tell you something about what I've read so far. And I've read 3 by Russell, 1 by Marx, and I'm ploughing through them, and I'm enjoying them as well. And you say, you're enjoying them? Yeah, because these people were the activists of their day. And we now know that anything with an ism at the end is pretty much a political control tool, one way or another. So whether you want to go with socialism or communism or anarchy or whatever, doesn't matter to me. You can be fascinated all you like with all this information. Doesn't matter. I understand the political tools of control led by the activists of the day, saying things that those that were supporting change wanted to hear. And I'll give you a couple of examples, actually, because I do think that people are misrepresented. So what have I done with my examples? Because I want to give you a couple of things that the activists of their day that we're told are bad guys. Remember I said last week about taking things out of context?
Yes. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it happened to me today, but I'm not going to go into details. Here's something that might just at least... challenge. If we were all given the magic power to read each other's thoughts, I suppose the first effect would be to dissolve all friendships. Take your time thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because the guy who wrote that was Bertrand Russell. That's a deep thinking guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's somebody who understands the power of the lie and how it's utilised. And we're going to go a little bit into that this evening. Am I saying Bertrand Russell's a good guy? No, I'm not. I'm telling you, he's the activist of his day. He was he was representing a certain class of people that were young and vibrant and rebellious and wanted change.
Yeah.
So he gave the bit.
We know a few of those as
We
well.
do know a few of those, don't we? We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So let me just check something. We aren't as ready as we thought we were this evening, you know.
Right. Are we having technical problems?
Well, we'll come back to it in a minute. No, I'll tell you what it is. It's the power lead's not plugged into that computer there. The power lead, which should be lurking around somewhere. It'll be lurking around the back. But let me carry on. What I'm saying is that these people were the activists of their day. They led the young rebellious. They formulated the thoughts of the young.
Yeah.
Just like the activists that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
We have leaders and activists, don't we? And our activists tell us not to follow and not to support them. And yet, they're saying the same things just 100 years later.
Yeah.
You see what I mean by that?
I do, yeah.
You're doing very well to actually try and find that power lead, my friend. It will be down the back of the unit. Tell you what I'm going to do. I am really, really sorry that we are not as prepared as we normally are. I'm going to give you another quote from Mr. Karl Marx, actually. One from Bertrand Russell and one from Karl Marx. And again, if your activist leader said this, the oppressed are allowed once every few years to decide which representative of the oppressing class are to represent and repress them. And that was said by Mr. Karl Marx. After all these weeks, we're having I actually think my little sister's actually listening this evening as well.
Oh, good evening, little sis.
No, she won't be able to hear you.
All right.
After all these weeks, we've cocked it up, haven't we? I speak to Stevie on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And he said to me, your sound is about the best we have.
Oops.
Yeah. And I'm going to so tell him off for saying that to us. All right, hopefully, this is... a very strange evening we're having, isn't it?
It is,
the
yeah.
gremlins are among us, my friend.
Yeah, because we never mess with anything during the week, do we? Just
well, the computers are set up
and switched off.
As I said when we were just I spoke to Steve over the weekend and I said, he said, you know, your sound is just great. I'm not talking to him anymore. No. I'm not talking to him anymore. That's an end to it. So a little bit of an itsy-bitsy show then, but it is Tuesday the 8th of October 2013. This is the Unpenned Show. We're live on radio stations around the world, and I hope you can hear us. We live in North Yorkshire in the communist leading network. We are the world leaders in being spied upon and being attacked.
Yes.
We really are. We were talking about the ongoing... development of artificial intelligence. It actually sounds as if it might be a good thing, doesn't it? It actually doesn't sound... Yeah, I don't think we're getting anything on the wake at the moment, but never mind. I'll get some information as we go. We're talking about artificial intelligence and how it's going to usurp us, isn't it?
It is.
It is going... You know, people talk about the singularity, and this singularity, especially in scientific terms, is a done deal. Mm-hmm. All right, it's a done deal. It's like it's going to actually happen.
Yeah,
it's not a. It might happen. It's a done deal.
This is what might happen. It's
going to happen.
Going to happen.
The singularity is coming. That we remember that singularity is where computers take over thinking for themselves. And once they become able to think for themselves, those that sit at the top, they actually assume that computers will take over the invention as well. They'll actually take over the well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what the truth is? And the one thing that we do know for sure is that we don't know anything for sure.
No.
Death and taxes.
Yeah.
That was said a long time ago, wasn't it?
It was,
that
yeah.
was said a long, long time ago. Death and taxes is all we know about. The rest is something that we could argue about, but we're not going to. Artificial intelligence is coming whether we like it or not. How
Yes,
do we
it
know?
is.
Because we're already using it.
We are.
We're already using it. This is we're funding it by simply using it.
Yeah.
This is the playground that's been built for everybody. It's also the door into the cashless society, and it is for these things. We will merge, but not in a way that you're thinking that we'll actually become. We're going to merge in a way that they're going to become our best friends. They're going to become the very thing that we rely on for everything.
Yeah.
And eventually it'll have a personality. Eventually it'll start to appear to care for us. And we'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
And it'll never let us down. It'll never say no in a way that we'll be offended. It'll always listen. And even though we know it's a machine, by the fact that it's got artificial intelligence, we're going to love it.
Mm.
And you say, how do you know that, Paul? Because it's already happening.
Already do.
It's in front of your very eyes.
Yeah.
You know, for you to say, well, that's a brave and bold statement for the future. Of course it isn't. It's nothing of the bloody sort. Look around you. Look around you. Do they really just want us sat here? Do they really just want us sat here looking into a screen and giving away everything?
I think they do, yeah. Yep.
Well, I think they do as well. Gosh, it's been a very interesting evening. After all the weeks we've had on Awake Radio. All the weeks we've had. Okay? None are as difficult as the ones we've got now. So, just bear with me a second. I don't know what's wrong, but I do know that Steve messed with my computer over the weekend.
Remotely.
He did. He did. He messed with my computer over the weekend, and I'm not having it. Unbelievable.
According to Southampton University, they can turn it off when they want.
They can. Now, let's get on to it, because we're talking about artificial intelligence. And hopefully I'm back now.
You see, those two words don't go together well, do they?
Well, they don't, because artificial is make-believe.
Make-believe, yeah.
Sony make-believe. It's Sony make-believe.
And intelligence would say that you're intelligent enough to work out that it's not artificial.
We're a long way from home, aren't we?
We certainly are.
Now we've discovered where we are in the plan that they have ahead for us. Now we've discovered where we are. We're an awful long way from where we thought we were. Remember when we first started this discovery? We thought we were able to we're catching something at the beginning of the curve. We thought we were learning something at the beginning of its cycle.
We were off to see the wizard, weren't we?
And now we actually learned that we're actually approaching the very end of this cycle. Now, all we try to share is what we've seen.
Yes, that's...
We don't try to tell you anything else. What we've seen, what we've observed, is what we try and share. It doesn't include any names that you know. And it's not targeted at you that are listening. That's not why we do this, is it?
No.
It's not personal.
No, it shouldn't.
If you take it personally, it's because you haven't understood what we're trying to do.
Possibly.
We say what we see.
Yeah.
We think we've got it right, and tomorrow we're prepared to be told we've got it wrong.
But we've got it wrong. That's
and admit that might be the case.
And we've said that before. We look forward to somebody coming and saying, "Hey, we had you go in there." A little.
Would it be lovely at
Jeremy
the end
Beadle,
of this? Would it be lovely at the end of this ride that someone says, "Do you know? Did you enjoy that?" And I'll say, "No."
No, it was scary as hell.
Do you want to go back and change it? And I'll say, "No, no, I don't want to. No," because reality is it keeps decoding for me. It appears to be getting more simple, and I don't know if that's because of my intelligence level. Is it because I am just looking for the simplest method, so I don't have to overthink everything? And that might be true. But how reality is working for me is that the monsters, the ghosts, the deities, the demons, the devils, and everything that we see as the darker side are expressed internally. In other words, we believe they exist because we feel they exist. And because from a very early age we've been told how these entities look. We've been given a method of, when I say devil, you can put a picture in your head immediately. So you know what a devil is. Now when I say Father Christmas, you can do it again, or Santa Claus. But is it possible, my lord, that how this really works is that because we've been told it's real, and we've been shown what it looks like, then we externalise it and accept it to be real in the same way that we do with Father Christmas. Because Father Christmas is placed on cards, in shopping centres, on television, in children's stories, and somehow magically he attends most children's schools to hand out presents. And because we've externalised something that we've been told to believe, and because we're such a young age, we therefore believe it. Now, is that what the church has done, along with the storytellers of the ages?
Yeah.
Is that what the church has done? That it's made us fearful of things that don't exist. It's then told us what these things that don't exist look like, and now we think they do. Because all the stories are nothing but stories and legends. And would life not be a little different if we didn't have the stories and legends?
It certainly would.
If life really was get up, go to work, pay your taxes, buy stuff and die. If that's all life really was, would we live it?
I don't think you'd think twice about having a go.
So what about the life we live now?
Is
it not
exactly
get
that.
up? Is it not get up, go to work, pay your taxes, buy things and die? Are we not the perfect little battery? The perfect little energy source? Everything we have, we give to the system. Initially in our energy, then we're rewarded with currency, and we spend it in consumption.
That's why the vampire bit fits, isn't it?
It is why the vampire bit fits. But we give them it all back.
Yeah.
And all they give us is imaginary bits of paper to trade. And that is very depressing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because if that's the life we had to live, we'd be banging on the doors to go to heaven, wouldn't we? We'd be desperate to go. Some people do that, don't they? Some people give up the daily drudgery of what is slavery.
Yeah.
You know this is modern day slavery because the symptoms are everywhere. The symptoms are poverty. Poverty is the symptom and slavery is the disease.
Yeah.
And there are so many people now struggling at the bottom end. And we can blame them, but that's not going to help them.
No.
We can talk about the system and the denial of an education to these people. We can talk about all those things, but that's not going to fix the problem. The problem is there's no jobs for these people.
There isn't, no.
It's almost like the government have broken your legs and they're telling you to stand up.
Yeah.
They've actually broken your legs. You're on your bloody knees. And they're saying, get up and get a job. Get up and get a job.
Yeah.
And no matter what those fancy do-gooders say, there's jobs out there if you want them. Not for everybody there isn't.
No.
Not for everybody there isn't. There are some people who really do want to work. But there are many who don't. But we've got to accept that this is the pool we're in.
Yeah.
We're in this pool, whether you like it or not. The idea is to make us fight with those that have less than we have, because they don't want us fighting with those that have more than we have. That's what politics does.
It does.
Politics is really, really simple. It asks for the vote from the poor people and the backing of the rich people and promises to keep one from the other. That's what politics does, whether you like it or not.
It does.
We look the wrong way into how the world works. We don't actually fight in a way that makes sense to me. We shout at the system.
We do, yeah.
And the system is fine at being shouted at, because the political systems that they create for us and the activist leaders, and we can argue if they're put up there or whatever, it doesn't matter. Those activist leaders, whether they be doing it for the right reason or the wrong reasons, we still agree with what it is that they're trying to do on our behalf.
We're not good at getting together, are we? That's what I can see. All right, people can argue with that and say, yeah, we go to protest. Look at Balcombe. But your right to protest is just accepting. You're just going to whinge about what's happening. It doesn't give you any power.
It doesn't, and you think you've done something. And
you
go
do,
home, and you haven't done
anything.
Because if we don't really look at what's failed in the past and accept that it's failed, then we are pretty crazy doing the same thing over and over again.
My great granddad went on the Jarrow March. Look, it didn't look at where we are now from then. We're in a very, very similar situation, and it's all created by the cabal, by the corporations, because they thrive on it. I did a little bit of a survey, not a survey, of a little bit of research myself. The companies that have survived the First and Second World Wars are still around today. And do you know what companies they are? And you have them all under your kitchen cabinet at home.
Yep.
It's the Unilever, the Procter & Gamble, the soap people, all the disinfectant, the bleach, which links to the chemicals. And
Sony, Ford.
Petrochemical.
Yeah, BP.
And the banks.
Yeah.
The banks survived all wars. Because they fund them all, don't they? The money always has to go back. It's
a revenue service.
It's revenue, yes.
It takes it back home again.
Yeah.
It issues it out, because the demand has been made. Yeah?
Yeah.
The demand has been made, and the currency has been issued. It then activates or allows or electrifies whatever it is that the currency was required to do, and then drains its power back slowly.
Yeah.
It recharges, revenues, rehome, rehouse.
But
they always want more back than they gave.
Exactly.
This is the system about the poor people, isn't it?
Money laundering, isn't it?
The poor people, right? The poor people. We're in an awful lot of trouble, and we should have figured this out a long time ago. We're in an awful lot of trouble because the system gets paid both ways.
It does.
All right. It gets paid on our energy through taxation, and then it gets paid on our consumption, again through indirect taxation. It gets paid over 75 pence out of every pound. One way or another, and it wants more. It wants more, and it's going to find different ways. And the reason why we know it wants more is because this socialist system that is called the Brave New World, because it is a world of socialism. I'm not telling you that the authors that we spoke about earlier are good for us. I've read the books. I know that the politicians who've read those books, or the future leaders of the day that read those books, right, they have learned how the world works from those books.
Yep.
I've read those books, and I understand how the world works from those books. I don't agree with what's in those books, but I understand what's in those books is a very good account of how the world works. Do I support it? No, I don't. Do I understand why the politicians are made to read it? Of course I do.
Yeah.
That's why I read them. So anybody who thinks that I'm going against this, the internet is the socialist system that they've been dreaming about. This is the screaming into the global village.
You do everything on there now. You can't do anything without going on there.
But this is the global village. This is the socialisation of everybody over time.
Your line rental pays for it all as well.
I know. We go into the net and we pay line rental.
And that's the biggest biggest part of it all.
But when you think about that, that's just giving it back to the fisherman, isn't it?
Yes,
You're actually paying the fisherman the line rental.
The line rental, yeah.
Yeah, we pay rents. We are parents. I mean, our leaders are the fishers of men, the kingfishers. They are the fishers of men, and we are the fish. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter whether you believe that or not. That is the story they get told, and that is the story that they share with themselves. It couldn't be more obvious to us. Now let's go on to the socialism that we can see trying to come into view.
Yes,
and this is how they're going to do it, and this is how we've always known they're going to do it, because the socialists want something for nothing. They want everybody to be poor so they can feel rich. Right? And that includes people at our level. Our level who have nothing are always going to vote for everyone else to share with them.
Yep.
And they know that's the case.
I used to bite socialist work, and I were there.
But
I thought it was my salvation. I thought it was my messiah.
But anybody who's got a little bit saved up, okay, the people who are in this system that they're going to bring in are going to vote to take it away, because they're going to say that you got that by fair means or foul. But the fact that you have more means that somebody else has had to suffer because you've got more. And this is the slow burn process that's in.
It is.
Go with the headline for me.
It says the abolition of poverty in Switzerland, a template for Europe. The success of a basic income campaign in Switzerland provides momentum to an equivalent EU initiative. And basically it says there, basic income for all.
Now, this is a basic income. This is not the first time, but it's a relatively new idea. This has been put forward. In other words, we're testing the water.
They are. They've put
all news stories. We
Yeah.
must please see news stories in the way that they're presented to us. And they are nothing but asking if they can do it. Or they're telling you that this is what we're doing, and if you don't kick off about it,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to keep doing it.
We'll-
Now, it's taken me a long time to learn.
We'll check
about
your acquiescence.
the difference
Yeah.
between leaders and followers.
Mm.
It's taken me a long time. I didn't realise that there is a difference between leaders and followers. Even in the alternative truth movement, there are leaders and followers.
Yes, there are.
And I didn't realise.
No.
I thought we were all pretty much the same. I thought we were all, you know...
I did too,
we
yeah.
were, stand together, you know, shoulder to shoulder, stand together. When the day comes, we will not be defeated. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. They've given us a method of feeling like we're part of,
Yeah.
okay, but we're not.
Oh.
We're sat home. Okay, and we're going to stay sat home, and you can tell by the numbers that turn out for various, various things. I mean, we went to, I think, We Are Changing Leeds a few years ago, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
You know, Leeds. I don't know. Probably 500,000 people in Leeds.
Yeah.
4 people at the meeting, 5 people at the meeting.
There weren't many there, were
and
there?
2 of those people were there for personal reasons.
They
were
were.
there for personal support.
Yes, they were.
Now, I'm not picking on Leeds. I'm not picking on anybody who was there, and I'm not. We say what we see.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say is, what we're doing, it's not actually attractive, is it?
No. We're
Because-
not attracting the right people.
Because when you say to people, right, I need you to stop watching TV. I need you to change toothpaste.
Stop
I
drinking
need you to
Coca-Cola.
I need you to filter your water. Stop buying Coca-Cola. Stop using your debit card. I need you to buy local, grow your own food, and don't vote.
Yeah.
What on earth made you think that people are going to say, "Get me in, get me in"? I want to be in some of that. I'll tell you, get me some of that. Oh, and don't forget to buy some candles for when the lights go out. Yeah,
I know.
count me in. I'm in all the way. Yeah.
We have been disappointed, haven't we? I must admit, I have been disappointed, and over not just that, but many things that these rabbit holes take you down. And we've done our apprenticeship, we've said before, but we do realise where this, or we're prepared to have a stab at where this is taking us. And this says it all, that they want, just in this article here, what do they call it? They call it, here it is, if unconditional basic income is implemented, everyone will receive a guaranteed income every month. That's socialism. I'd have voted for that years ago, regardless of age or employment status. It's a bit like a state pension, but for all age groups, and it cannot be reduced or withdrawn. It is a real alternative to austerity.
Now let's go along with this, shall we? Let's go with this. Let's imagine, right?
Let's be devil's advocate.
Let's go with it. Let's imagine that came to England, and the people were. There's no figures on there. Now the article that I actually posted. Let me just mention that everything that we talk about is on my Facebook page, and the Facebook link will be below this YouTube video that you're now listening to. If you're not listening to us live, please feel free to contact us through Facebook. But anyway, getting back to it, if in England. Okay, the government of the day, which is the same one, just red, white, or blue, whichever one you want. Okay, well, yellow actually, isn't it? Yellow. It's the right bloody colour for them, I'll tell you.
If you're yellow, yeah.
Silence isn't golden; it's yellow and lies.
Yellow, yeah, lies.
I say it through gritted teeth, I'll tell you. Anyway, let's say the government of the day said to everybody, and this is a very big possibility in the future, we can't see you suffer anymore. We're going to have to come up with a fairer system. And the way we're going to do it is, we're going to do it with universal credits. Now there's a word you've heard before. We're going to do it with universal credits. Or something that sounds similar. And these universal credits, you'll be able to use in a digital system. You won't be able to turn it into cash and go spend it on what you want. It'll be a digital system, digitally created, for those that cannot look after themselves. So far, so good. So far, so good. A apparently, it's a universal income for everybody.
Mm.
Well, let's have a think about that. Would you put your feet up? If it was 300 or 400 quid a week, would you put your feet up and stop working?
Previously, I would have done, yeah.
Well, what will you do now?
Yeah, what will you do now?
So, we actually think in the future that a government at some point is going to say, here's enough per week for you not to have to work.
Mm.
Well, they already do that. It's called benefits.
Mm.
It's called the benefit system. They're just going to turn it into a new word, make it into a new system, and make you go online to do it.
Yeah.
This isn't new.
No,
This
definitely isn't.
This sounds fantastic
Mm.
until you realise we've already got it. We've already got it. But this is going to be something new and exciting. And I'm sure they're going to make it a bit more... if you get 120 or 150 quid a week now on benefits, I'm sure it'll be 200 quid a week if you go with this method.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
They want to get us cashless.
They do.
They want to get us cashless, and they're going to go and knock on as many doors as they can to get us to answer the word yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just another try to get socialism in. And it's Switzerland that's actually brought this out. It's Switzerland that put this forward, yeah?
Putting it forward in a referendum. They want to get it in a referendum to get people to vote for it.
Are they part of Europe?
I don't
I
think
think they've got their own money system.
they have their own. Yeah, they have their own.
I think they've got guns.
The Swiss franc, don't they?
Guns and everything.
Yeah,
And the banks, the main banks.
yeah, they have. Is it the bank?
And you're not allowed to bomb them.
It's the Bank of
But you-
International
You're
Settlements
not allowed
there
to
as
bomb
well.
them. You're not allowed to bomb them. Don't you bomb them.
I might be wrong, but I think it's there.
What I'm saying is that all these wonderful stories, you never realise they're just rehashing what you've already got.
They are.
Because they want to get you into the web, into the net, and once they've got you cashless, you're not coming out of this.
No.
You are not coming out of this net. They're going to close the top up, and then it turns into a web.
Mm.
Then it turns into a kill grid. It'll be some years. Not next year, not the year after, not the year after that.
No.
But 5 and 10 and 15 years down the line.
Well,
Because, well, first of all, money creation. People don't understand what money creation actually works like. Even if they said, right, we're going to give everybody 300 quid a week, which they won't, but even if they said they're going to, and we voted for it, right? The 300 quid a week is going to be digitally created and stuck in the debt column,
yeah,
okay, of the money outstanding to the bank that issued it.
yeah,
So, it's going to be put in the debt column, and interest is going to be charged on
it
it
certainly will.
to the borrowing government.
Yep.
Now, the Bank of England is a private institution
Mm-hmm.
that creates the currency and credit for 52 Commonwealth countries. You know which ones they are because the Queen's head is on it.
Yeah.
They create the currency and credit for 52 countries as a private institution run for profit.
Mm.
They issue loans to governments around the world at interest.
Yes.
Those governments come for the money, it's issued at interest, and the government of the day is required to take it from the population
Yes.
and give it back to the Bank of England with interest.
Mhm.
That's how the Bank of England works. If you don't think it does, it's because you just don't think it does. That's how it works. In this instance, £300 a week. The £300 a week will be stuck on the debt side of the government of the day.
Yeah.
Remember, this £300 has cost nothing at all to create. But here's the beautiful bit about it. The £300 that's cost nothing to the Bank of England to create goes onto the debt of the government of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes reality because you spend it into reality by buying things. So the £300 that was created goes into your bank at no cost to the Bank of England. You now spend it into existence and give it to the very corporations that are raping us.
Mm-hmm.
The very corporations that have taken over the business of running this country. The ones you mentioned before.
Yeah.
The big boys. The big boys are running the country.
They are.
They might have a different sign over each shop.
Yes.
Every different electric company might have a different sign, but believe me, they buy the electric on the open market.
Yeah.
And the electricity generators are few and monopolised.
Mm.
Okay? So the £300 comes from the Bank of England, ends up in your bank account. You spend it on the very things you need. It might as well be called a vagabond's bloody wage, because you're not going to get more than you need, I guarantee you. Alright, you're going to get exactly as much as you need, and you're going to spend it on the very things you need to survive. Gas, electric, water, fuel, and food. The monopolies that they hold.
Every monopoly
You
they've got.
hold the monopolies, right? You are held in a game of Monopoly. You're the one that's been monopolised, capitalised. So the £300 goes into your account. You now give the £300 to the monopolies. The monopolies now assume more power and control and obviously profits. The £300 now exists as a debt on the government. The government pay interest on it, so that's twice now the money's going in. And the people who've got any money left who are still working, they get to have their taxes raised to pay the interest on the money that was created from nothing and given to the corporations to buy us all.
Yeah.
And if that didn't make sense, listen to it back again, because that's how it works.
It is.
The £300 is not for you, it's for the big monopolies.
Yep.
It's just that you are the launderer into existence.
You are the custodian
You
of
are
it.
you are the handler. You make it happen. And you say, well, I get to exist. So you do. How long do you think that's going to go on for? Because once you're under full financial digital control, they can create these digits out of nothing.
They can.
They can do it now, but they have to print the stuff. And they give us the luxury of being able to spend it on what we want. We can withdraw it and spend it privately.
Yep.
That won't do. That won't do at all. No. If this system ever came along, and it's nearly here because we've got a benefit system.
Yeah.
All right, but they'll say it's digital and you can't spend it on what you want. You must spend it so we can trace it.
Yeah, and you'll have to do it all online,
You'll
probably.
have to use through debit cards or through your phone. You won't be able to withdraw it as cash.
No.
They want cash out.
They do.
They want cash out of this bloody system. When cash is just about disappeared, this system will come in.
It will.
All right, but you will not be able to spend it as you want to. Alcohol, no. Cigarettes, no chance. No holidays, no chance. You will actually be on a survival wage.
You will.
And do you know what? You won't get anything more. The old adage, if you don't produce, you can't have. George Bernard Shaw, he said it, and I bloody guarantee you they'll do it.
That for the first time in human history, for the first time in all of human history, almost all of mankind is politically awake. And these new and old major powers face still yet another novel reality, in some respects unprecedented. And it is that while the lethality of their power is greater than ever, their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this as follows.
The British Foreign Secretary, that was Mr. Jack Straw.
It was Jack Straw.
Jack Straw who repeated that. Now, we built this city on rock and roll, and if you wonder why we played that, it's because you weren't listening to the words. Because this global village, this planet, we have been lured in. Jack Straw is the Home Secretary he's talking about. And on my Facebook page is a scanned newspaper headline. Jack Straw quote, "The English are not a race worth saving." Now you have a little think about what would make the Home Secretary actually think he could even say that. And that's because he sits in the company of Mr. Sir Big Nose knows everything. He sits in company of who lives and who dies. These people, they have a mentality that we will never fully understand because we don't have it. I do my best to sit in the seats that I think they occupy and imagine the conversations that they have. And it makes me uncomfortable when I actually do that because I tend to feel I'm somewhere near, really. Because they go along the lines of saying that this is our gift from God.
Yeah.
And we must make ourselves a gift to God in return.
They do.
That's how they see themselves, as caretakers of humanity. Which sounds fine until you actually decode it into who lives, who dies, and who makes money on the way up, and who makes money on the way down. These people do not, and have not, and could not, and have no desire to run a business. They can't run businesses.
No.
They are, and I've said this week after week after week, and I still stand by what I say, They are put in these positions to do what they do. They are unqualified idiots.
Yeah.
But they're dangerous idiots.
They're
not stupid. Oh, no, they're not stupid. But idiots is the word idea not. Okay? And I don't think they have no idea of us at the bottom. I don't think they have no idea of recognition of that we are people. That we do live, we do breathe, we do produce, we provide everything. That they just see us now as troublesome.
Yeah.
In the past, they had to temper what they said because we wouldn't serve them if they weren't at least nice to us from time to time. But like all farmers, when the animals grow out of useful production, they're sent away for glue and soup, aren't they?
Yeah. I've actually looked Margaret Thatcher in the eyes. I was only 16, 17, and she came to Harry Ramsden's at Menston there,
right.
which the world famous fish and chip shop. And we went down there to protest a little bit. I was. We've mentioned the youth training schemes, didn't we? They were trying to get me onto a youth training scheme, and I didn't want to go on one. It was going to cost me more money than they were going to pay me, which were no good. I wasn't good at maths, but I knew I'd worked that one out. But I was as far away from her as I am you now, within a couple of feet, and I looked into her eyes, and they are the mirror of the soul, the eyes, and I can honestly say there was nothing behind them. Nothing at all behind them. And you can see why that type of person is so easily controllable. And they will be, I don't know, they must lose all reason of thought and get the blinkers on and they're focused on what they want to do. And she was a focused lady.
I'm reading the books. And the books that I'm reading are not really for me. They're not for me at all. They were
not for the thinkers.
They're for the middle class. They're for the controlling class. The trillionaires run the billionaires, that run the millionaires, that run the middle class, that employ the working class to make the whole thing work properly. That's the stack. That's the stack. And the books I'm reading, are the ones that the millionaire class or they aspire to be the millionaire class, or they come from the millionaire class, and those aspire to be the billionaire class. And that sort of thing. It's the social climbers.
Yeah.
And you and I, we've never had the opportunity to be social climbers. I don't think. I certainly haven't, and I'm okay with that. I'm all right. I don't wish to be more than I am today.
I've worked for millionaires, and I would rather work for old people. The pensioners. You get more from a pension. You get a cup of tea, a couple of biscuits. They'll give you a slice of cake. They'll make you your dinner even.
Yeah.
And I've worked for millionaires, and you get sweet FA.
It's because they look down upon us. They look down upon us, and they peer down.
They do.
They do think they are our peers.
That we are there to serve them.
But think of peer. So if they look down at a peer, you're looking into, learn to swim, you man. Learn to swim, you man. Yeah. Was it meet Mike? He swims like a fish. That was an old advert, wasn't it? Petunia. Oh no, they've done that. I'm going to find that advert for next week. Remember the advert?
I do, yeah. A little cartoon. Petunia.
We'll find it for next week.
Little old man from table number 8 over there.
It was the Coast Guard, wasn't it?
Yeah. Born for the Coast Guard, yeah.
We are the masses at the bottom.
Public information films.
It was, and there was some public information in there.
Telling us what to do again.
It's all mirrored, isn't it? It all mirrors. It all. The decode for one is the decode for the other. Is the decode for the other. It's all mirrored, isn't it? It's like a hall of mirrors.
It is. But we saw something the other Saturday night. We went out for a few beers, listened to a band, didn't we?
Yep. And
there was a fracas in the pub, wasn't there? And an elderly gentleman got laid. It was spark out on the floor, wasn't he?
Well, I think he got pushed off his stool more than he got punched.
And
I think there was a fallout. There was a fallout.
The guy was unconscious.
Yes, he was.
And it took 2 or 3 attempts to get somebody to phone for an ambulance.
Actually, people were happy to leave him, weren't they? They said, "Oh, it'll be all right."
Yeah.
And they were stepping over him.
And they were, yeah.
There was spark out on the floor, and they were stepping over him. They said, "Oh, it'll be all right."
Yeah.
Now, luckily, your wife is a nurse.
Yeah.
And I was pretty much familiar with what should be done as well.
And
between yourself and my wife, between me and your wife.
And the lady that was looking after him was trained in first aid as well, luckily.
But lucky for them.
But yeah, they were the only...
I was going to say nobody else stepped forward.
It was a matter of minutes, though, before anything happened in it.
Yeah.
That was the scary... And you played that little clip about dead people. And that's what we saw, wasn't it? That's what was the scariest thing of all, was people didn't care.
Well, the zombies and the vampire thing is a similar story, isn't it? The vampires is much more cool nowadays.
Yes,
but
it
we've
is.
had the witches and the wizards with Harry Potter. Now it's time to bring vampires back. And the zombie thing, of course, has never really gone away now for a long time.
No, it hasn't. No.
You know, it is a long time, the zombie films. I mean, The World's End is a zombie-type film.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that's a similar one. Yeah.
But it's only the script makers and the producers and that just showing off their skills.
Yeah.
You know, they can decode it as well. And the fact that we just watch it as entertainment is quite uncomfortable, because it's not entertainment for us, is it?
No.
It's actually learning, isn't it? Actually watching films teaches you, doesn't it?
Watching them over again
well, you see what other people see now. You see why they put it in there. And you see things in movies that you think, I never realised that was in there.
No, I didn't
and then
get that
say,
interpretation of it before.
What was that doing in there?
Yeah.
What was that little line doing in there? It doesn't make sense. But it does now. But when you're watching it, you just missed it. Back to where we started after this second break, and I can't remember what it was, but the news story I have in my hand is that we're now paying for the cover-up at the BBC, aren't we? Okay, the BBC are now paying compensation, which I'm sure they'll say is not an admission of guilt. But the paying compensation, and here's the bit. I mean, I always pick a news story and always try and sort of say, does this make sense to you? The BBC may pay, okay? Savile abuse victims as little as £1,500 compensation each, which is what the Director General gets paid in one day. That's the headline. Second line. At least 450 people abused by the paedophile DJ on BBC premises. 450. Did you want 1,500 quid? Because I'm thinking we could maybe get. Should we be 451 and 452? We just have to watch Top of Pops and say we. No. Next line. Corporation proposing 7 tiers. 7 tiers. A rolling through the desert. 7 tiers. Corporation proposing 7 tiers of compensation payouts. The lowest for minor assaults. Does that mean assaults on children? Is proposed at £1,500. The highest for those raped on BBC grounds is 40,000.
Raped on BBC grounds.
So it's like this isn't going to stop this happening again.
No.
This is going to make the allegations of rape by people in the public eye.
Yeah, make it look like you're just doing it for money.
Well, we saw what happened to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And I am not going to go with what happened to Michael Jackson, apart from a lot of people stepped forward and said, give us money or we're going to spill the beans. Well, here we are again.
Yeah.
Well, if there's some wrongdoing here, and there's a high probability that something's been going on, even Terry Wogan, the big brave coward he is, has stepped forward and said, yes, we knew to some extent what was going on. The big brave bloody coward. He wants a smack on the nose end as well. Well, why are we paying for it?
Yeah.
Why is the licence payer paying for this? Why not have we got the management team that was involved here? Because if Terry Wogan admits, and he has done, that they knew it was going on, then those that allowed it or turned a blind eye should be paying this.
In the £1 million payouts that they've just had, and they're pensioned off, and disgusting. Why do we put up with it?
Good question. I know why we put up with it. I know why we put up with it. Because we feel so small and insignificant. Because we've been taught we're small and insignificant. We've been taught that Everyone's opinion has got value. We've been taught that everyone's unique and everyone's different. It's like that old saying, hard work never killed anybody.
Yes.
Except the millions that you can read about over time.
Yeah.
Or opposites attract, which they don't. Opposites fight. I don't know how you fight people. I don't know how you encourage them to stand up.
What can
when I
we
said
do?
When I said about our legs have been broken and we're living on our knees, and the government are saying get up after breaking your legs or your ankles, that's how people feel.
Yeah.
52% of adults in this country are struggling to pay the bills. And I'm not going to go through the details of the 7 days that I've just had, apart from I can confirm that is true.
It is, yeah.
It is true. But we don't talk about it.
No,
because we're English, we pull our socks up and grin and bear it.
Yeah, I'm going from week to week. From
Week
week
to
to
weeker.
week now.
Week to
Yeah,
weeker,
week
yeah.
to weeker, definitely. It is. I am probably 4 weeks away. 4 weeks away from it all coming to an end. That's all. That's as far as ahead as I can plan. Is 4 weeks, tops.
But that leaves you worse in abeyance to the system. Abeyance means you'll do as you're told.
Yeah.
You abeyance to the system. You know, you said about you're going to probably look at the possibility of going on to gas bottles.
Yeah.
To try and eliminate
To
that meter charge.
To get rid of the standing charge and the
also
meters.
And to eliminate the smart meter that's coming.
Yeah.
I've renewed the gas contract in my shop this week. 9.9%. That's the gas increase. Okay, in 1 year.
Crikey,
Okay? I've negotiated another 2-year contract. Last one was 1 year. A 2-year contract I've gone for this time, and it's 9.9% up.
Yeah.
But how much more? You know, I just this evening I've been in conversation with, and I'm not going to illuminate much further because it's not fair. Just this evening, I've been in conversation with middle-class people. These are the middle class. Now, the middle classes, if this is any consolation to those of you that haven't got anything, let me tell you what the definition of freedom should be if it isn't. And this is my definition of freedom. If you're out of debt and you can think freely, this is it.
Yeah.
That's all you can hope for. That's all that's ever been on offer for you. You've got to get out of debt first and keep out of debt, and then you've got to have the ability to think freely, to actually not be swayed by others' opinions, but stand by your own convictions.
Yes.
And be prepared to be wrong, be prepared to change your mind, and be prepared to be embarrassed. But don't worry about it. You know, always say, well, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Isn't that the part of learning? I mean, we can go through a life where everybody's blowing proverbial sunshine up the necessary. We can go through a life like politicians want to go through, or like rock stars want to go through, of never-ending success, of people patting you on the back and saying how well you've done, what a good person you are, how you can never do anything wrong, how when you come in, everything, you know, you live a life of... No. You're not going to learn anything, apart from you think you're God. Being right about everything does not teach you anything.
It doesn't.
You
No.
only learn when you're wrong. You only learn when you didn't get it right. Experience is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted. That's life, and that's living. And would we swap it? Would we swap it for a life of fixed income? You don't have to work if you don't want to. I think we would die even earlier than we do now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We would die of loneliness. We would die of boredom. We're too far down this road to pretend that we're good people. We're broken people. All slaves are broken. You've got to put yourself back together. You've been dismembered. You cannot remember. You can't remember what life was like because you've never known. You've got a version of history that is laughable. You've got an education that is...
second best at most.
It's disgraceful, actually.
It is, with 22nd
Well,
at literacy and maths in the world.
I was going to say, you can find some different figures from 22 to 40.
22nd.
You can get 22nd to 43rd.
Yes, you can, yeah, with this, depending which
Depending which statistic you want to go.
statistics you go
Well, let's
with.
just say we're a long way from where we'd like to be.
We are.
Now, we can blame the teachers, but I don't think blaming anybody else is ever going to fix your problems. You've got to look in that mirror. And the first thing that I'm going to tell you about mirrors is you can stare all day. And one thing that I'm going to promise you is it will not smile first. It will not smile first. Now, if you want your world to be better, you've got to look in that mirror and you've got to work out why you don't smile when you look at it. And you know why you don't smile? It's because life isn't going very well. Okay, and if life isn't going very well, and I'm talking to myself, these are conversations I've had years ago.
Yeah.
This is how I taught myself to be something that I was happy with. And I had to let go of thinking that I was something before then. Because I wasn't. I wanted my chip shop to crush the rest of the chip shops. I wanted to be rich beyond my wildest. I wanted to retire. And it was all I want.
Yeah.
And you know what? I never got any of it.
No.
Because I didn't realise that I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. Now, am I against capitalism? No, I'm not against capitalism. No, I'm not. But that brings you into a conversation of, well, how much is enough? It's a good conversation. I don't know how much is enough. We're a long way down the road now. To reverse what we call capitalism is almost impossible. They've got all the money. They've got all the money, all the power, and all the resources.
Yeah.
We really have to rethink our position and decide what it is that we can do to move forward. I say what I'm always going to say, and that is to try and retake the political side of this.
Yeah.
We've been taught that don't vote, don't care, ignore them. We've been politicians are corrupt, deceptive, and they are, and we've been taught to, but it's made us ignore them. It's turned us off politics. Our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they jumped in ships, they flew in planes, they dug trenches, all right? And they defended the freedoms you've got today. Democracy to them was worth fighting for. Their lives they were prepared to give. And we can't be flicking arsed to go vote.
No.
We can't be bothered to get out of our chairs and go down and take part in what is a political system that will either destroy you or bloody save you. There is no other option. Tell me there is, and I'm listening. But I don't think there's another option. There is not another option. Get busy in the political system. You don't have to do it yourself, but you do have to take part. This should be a duty. You should feel duty-bound to do this. If you want to make your kid's life better, get involved with the people who make the decisions to make your kid's life better. Vote for the right person for the right reasons. And if they don't do it, go knock on the door and say you're a lying cheat.
But the corrupt system we've got, I think we mentioned it in the other show, in this constituency here that we're in, we've got some jumped up so-and-so from down south that it was a safe seat here, it was a safe Tory seat.
But that's
we
how
don't know him from Adam.
But that's how it was. We've got to take the power back.
We need to change
We
it.
can change the political system if we have the political will to do it.
We need the will to do it.
We only have to put a cross on a bloody bit of paper. That's all we have to do. We have to vote for change with a bloody cross. It never was as harder than that.
But it's getting the right candidates there, isn't it?
Maybe to begin with, it's getting the wrong ones out. Maybe to begin with, it's getting the wrong ones out.
Yeah, you've got to... Well, you and I both followed UKIP, didn't we? Just kept our eye on it to see what was happening. And there are a lot of people believe that they are the up-and-coming alternative. The way things are padding out and the...
Fool me once.
Yeah, exactly that. That they're falling out in heaps and lumps already between them, and it's this party thing I can't do with. Once you're involved in a party, and you were saying about your own mind, you can't have a mind of your own. Then you've got to have the mind of the party.
Unfortunately, we are complex creatures. Nothing can be written down and made to work in perfection.
It can't.
We have to go with a basic. What was it you wanted to do? We need to challenge the corruption and challenge the system, and we need to put ourselves or to find others that want to stand and help us. It's still available to us. And for those that knock the politics and knock the politicians, you're right to do so. But if you can find me another way to fix the terrible troubles we're in, I'm all ears. Now, if you're going to tell me it's listening to somebody else on the internet,
well, we've done that.
Be careful.
I got us very far.
Because I'm not asking you to listen to me on the internet. If you listen to my shows prior, I tell you to get off this brainwashing Neverland time-stealing machine.
Yeah.
I tell you to get off it. Your solution's not here.
No.
This is a library that you can watch.
That was a good post that you put on Facebook. The guy down in
the TV license
TV license man, yeah, and he was took it
Now,
to
that
the
was
courts
that's-
about 9/11.
But that's a story we covered earlier on this year, you know.
It was, yeah, we did in an earlier
and that's
show.
on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And he did stand his ground, and
He did.
the actual judge was sympathetic to his case. But
Only sympathetic.
only sympathetic to his case. He gave him the minimum fine
Yeah.
and didn't make him pay. You know,
Yeah.
now, it's a start.
Yes.
I mean, I'd say fight on all angles.
Those are the people we need to be rubbing shoulders
You
with.
know,
I think
yeah.
I put a comment on
Yeah.
to that effect.
You know, fight on all fronts. But the parking ticket lark, you know, and they trying to get out of your mortgage lark. Look, this mortgage is called a death pledge, right? That is it, and it is a death pledge because they know that you're never going to.
You're never going to pay it off.
They know you're never going to pay it off because they're going to tempt you so you don't pay it off. Do I advocate buying a house? It doesn't matter what I say. I don't give financial advice. But remember the old adage: it doesn't matter what it costs. You max yourself up because in a few years it'll be easier. That might have been true 30 years ago. It's not true now. So if you still think maxing yourself up to buy a house and it'll be easier in a few years, it might not be.
No.
It might not be easier in a few years. The government are desperately trying to blow up the housing bubble again.
They are.
They're desperately trying
And the
to.
lies they're spouting.
But the government don't do this for your benefit. The bankers, it's the banks who get the bloody profit.
Yeah.
If the government really wanted to help the economy, they'd give you the loans.
Yes.
But they make you go to the banks that they work for, right? And they pretend that they put the money in for you. They didn't. They just guaranteed another £12 billion worth of your great-grandchildren's taxation. This tax farm is never going to end.
It isn't. No.
It might change. It might change in what we call it, but we'll still call it energy, we'll still call it money, and we'll still have to exchange time to exist. This is a labour exchange. They give us nothing, we give them our lives. We
do.
spend our lives existing. We are just there to be milked like cows on the farm.
Yeah. And a politician's life existence is 10 years if they're lucky. 10 years they get, and then they're gone, and then they're replaced with
But
something
they
else.
get a permanent pension from the day that
they
they get a pension.
yeah, and an index-linked pension as well.
It's from the day they leave.
Yes, I know.
They even get a sweetener to move. But this is where we get a little bit hooked up because we don't like listening to shows that do too much of this because we like to talk about what we see, don't we? If we get involved in the news and try to change the news, that's just silly. The news is already gone.
It has, yeah.
It's in the past. You can't change the past. You can spend a long time trying if you want. But if you want to create the future, you've got to be part of making it. You've got to be part of making it. I'm a fan of UK Column. I think the UK Column have got the right idea. They say the same thing. Get involved. Get involved in the political system.
Yep.
Harass your MP. Stand to be an MP. But we've got to speak out. We've got to speak out. Because I guess in all time that ever there was, this phrase will have been used and perhaps overused. It's now. It's always been now. If we don't make form some sort of resistance now, then we're getting pushed back and back and back. And if you've drawn a line, can you still see it? Because you're getting pushed back and back and back. The future doesn't look good for us at the bottom because artificial intelligence is ready to build a world that doesn't need us. And those people who sit round that cabin net,
Yeah.
because they're in the net as well,
Yeah.
they're enslaved. I've told you this before. Politicians tell so many lies that they can never be released from the lies they tell. They can never be released. They'll always be beholden to what they've said previously. So in other words, they have to live that lie. And they live it so long that they believe it. And they have the power to flip it.
They do, yeah.
Tony Blair is one of the best flippers, isn't he?
Cabinet shuffle.
But Tony Blair can flip what he's said and make it sound good.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's a good one. Obama's a good one. Cameron's learning. Michael Gove's brilliant.
They're only-
Ian Duncan Smith's brilliant. They flip it. They say one thing and then re-engineer it to make it sound like they said something else when they didn't. And the weak watery press we've got, you see, we talk about the press and we shout about the press, but it's available to us online for free.
Yeah.
Now, why do they do that for free? Because we're part of the news service that actually gets their message out. and their message is really simple, okay? It's to beat us. It's to physically beat us. And that's what they do. Story after story after story. There's a newspaper circulation is going down. Nobody reads newspapers anymore. It's working. That's exactly what they want. Think about it. They don't want you to be interested in the news. They just want you to be a little bit fearful of never-ending wars in faraway lands that you're paying for. And we have to do this to keep you safe. This was written about in 1948.
Yeah.
It was flipped, and here we are. But we've gone past that now, haven't we? We've gone past that. We live in a world that's hundreds of trillions of dollars into debt. And we don't know who to, do we?
No.
We don't know who to.
No.
We got half the world starving, and the other half the world with too much.
Too much, yeah. Throwing food away.
Food. In the widest sense of the word.
Yes.
There's no way that's food in the way that we used to have, I'll tell you. Okay, the last segment of our show. It is Tuesday the 8th of October 2013. My name is Paul.
My name is Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show, live from North Yorkshire. We're broadcasting on lots of networks around the world. Awake, Shazizz, and on Blog Talk as well. So however you're listening, thank you for doing so. Everything we covered in tonight's show will be turned into a YouTube edit tomorrow on my channel, which is Mr. Paul Vickers.
Yeah.
So always using Mr. Paul Vickers. Look, that's my legal fiction. That's what I use in the world, Neverland. All right, you can use whatever it is you want to use. You can use whatever superhero name you want. It doesn't matter. The system doesn't care about that. Okay? My advice to you is to rethink that a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're not anonymous on here. You're not.
No.
Okay? This spy is watching, listening, and knows everything you are. Pick whatever fancy name you want, but why don't you use your own? Why don't you use your own?
I just changed my YouTube status, actually, and I wasn't aware that that's what was stopping me. I couldn't reply to any of the comments, and I've replied to a couple of comments just recently. I've reconfigured my computer on there, and I've taught myself a little bit.
Yeah, but YouTube wants your real name.
I've put my real name in. I don't mind.
Well,
my real name.
I mean, these little fights are just confusion.
Yeah.
You know, these aren't the fights. The fight that we need to have is with ourselves.
It is.
It's ourselves that's the problem. All right, now we have no problems giving advice to people, but we're hypocrites because we don't always take it ourselves. No.
I'm not hiding behind a persona anymore.
Me neither.
I have got a persona. We've done persona before.
Yeah. If you're stuck on that,
legal entity and all that.
If you're stuck on that, keep coming.
Keep coming.
That's not all there is.
No, we've done that.
It doesn't work. It doesn't help you. You get laughed at in court.
Yeah.
You go talk to the police about it. They haven't got a bloody clue. I know why they haven't got a clue. It doesn't matter. They think you're nuts.
Don't be frightened to go to court. I'm just telling somebody that at the weekend on bailiffs at the door and stuff like that. I says, look, get in court. Go and have your day with the judge, and you tell him how much you can pay. Come on, you've got to pay. You've had the stuff, you've got to pay, but tell him you can only afford £1 a week. Yeah. And the judge will say he can only afford £1 a week. You're going to accept £1 a week. We've got to start standing on our own 2 feet and be honest about everything.
Taking responsibility of the things that we've made mistakes over.
Our responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility. We've agreed to these things in the past.
Yeah.
Yes, through ignorance. But whose ignorance? Our own bloody ignorance.
My ignorance,
we have to start clearing up the shit.
I'm in the mess I'm in because of my ignorance.
We have to clear up the...
Nobody else will blame but me.
Our lives are a mess because we didn't know.
Yes.
We let the game, we let our masters not only dictate the game, but give us the rules.
Yeah.
We were never going to be favourites to do this.
No.
In this race, this is a fixed race. Why do you think races are... Never mind.
No.
You have to look and say, I've been scammed.
I have.
The whole... the system has played me like a bloody violin.
Yeah.
I have been... hung out to dry, and then you've got to start turning yourself around. You've got to start fighting. You've got to kick, and you've got to kick back to the surface. And it's not easy.
No,
but if you're in financial trouble, you phone up the people who are pestering you. Say, right, let's sit down and make a plan.
I'm here to sort it out.
And
Come
they'll
on.
say, well, I won't pay him back. I'll say, I know you do. Now let's have a look at that contract I signed, and let's have a chat about it. I've got some questions. Get yourself involved. The more complicated you make it for them to deal with you without being awkward, let's have a look at that contract. Let me read it again. Let me see what my rights are. They're not rights because you've agreed. Right? This is an agreement. It's not a contract.
Yeah.
If they call it a contract, I'm having them. Yeah, good luck with that.
Good
I
luck,
don't know
yeah.
anybody who's got out of the mortgage yet.
No.
I don't know anybody. Yes, you can forestall these people because the nuggets that come to the door, they don't know the law either.
No, they don't.
Right? They've been told to change the locks and throw you
Told
out.
what to do with a bit of paper, yeah. Send
That's
them
right.
with this bit of paper.
That's right. So, get yourself out of debt.
Yeah.
All right. These squabbles that you, if you think this system's gonna, it's not gonna let you get out of debt.
No, it isn't.
All right. It's not gonna let you escape because that's its control method.
It is, yes.
It's not going to lose control of the money system because that's its control method.
I said to my son, I said, a few weeks ago, I said, look, you're probably going to have to take this on. And he says, what do you mean? You're probably going to have to take the mortgage on. I said, at some point, me and your mum are going to snuff it, but the mortgage will be outstanding. And you'll probably have to take it on. Are you comfortable with that? He says, well, if it comes to that, it comes to that.
Unless you pay the insurance policy,
Yeah.
which becomes almost as much as the bloody mortgage as you get over 60.
Well, I'm going to say we've got the insurance policy, yeah, and they're all right until you come to claim. That Lee Evans clip, yeah. But yeah, it's all there to, we've said, haven't we? It's all there to take your money off you, to drain you. This is a vampire system.
It
to
is.
bleed you dry. But you've got to be honest with yourself. Come back to honesty.
This is the hardest thing.
That is the hardest
This
bit,
is
to be
the
true
hardest
to yourself.
thing. Because you say to yourself, I'm no longer going to lie.
No,
Right
I've
now,
stopped lying.
The thing about lies is, sometimes you can tell one to be kind, and sometimes it's the right thing to do. But don't do it to yourself. Maybe in the external world there is reality that you can touch, taste, see, hear and smell. In that world, handle yourself however you feel appropriately. I wouldn't dream to tell you. Sometimes kindness is better than the truth. But don't lie to yourself, because that's the greatest denial. People who tell lies, there's one characteristic they have. It's because they're frightened. And if you can't look in that mirror and be honest with yourself, you're controlled by the system of fear
Yes.
that's grabbed everybody.
Your demons, your ghouls, your wizards,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
witches, whatever
And
you want to call them.
You will externalise that control system and then shout at it. The devil, the demons, Satan, the deities, the jinn, whatever it is, you will externalise your problems and blame them for them. We live in a world of extremes. On one end is the fluffy tree-hugging gang. They're lovely people, but unfortunately the bullies will always take all they've got. On the other end, we've got people who just don't care.
Oh.
They really don't
Don't
care.
give a sod about
And they
you or
exist,
anybody.
and they exist, and they will run you over if needs be. They don't care. They have no shame, and they will just back it up by saying,
Yeah.
I'm doing what I have to do.
We've seen clips of it on YouTube, haven't you? When Egypt were kicking off, and I remember showing my son the clip.
And that
And
car
I said-
drove through,
and it did.
It looked like an executive
It
car,
was
didn't
a
it? Political type
it
car,
was a yeah,
an ambassador type car. You
Yeah.
don't diplomat's car. We don't know.
political diplomacy. Yeah,
But they just-
diplomatic immunity. That's
May-
what I was looking for.
Well, maybe I don't know.
Told them to put the foot down, just drive. Just
So we have those two
we
extremes.
do have them extremes.
We
yeah.
have we have a country that can't afford to look after its old people, who's denying its young people that it's disabled. We have a country that can't pay and is threatening to. We're probably going to be scared that the lights go off again this year. All right, we've only got 5% electric if it's a cold winter, and gas. The lights might go off. I mean, this is the fear control system.
Apparently 7 power cuts in Harrogate. They've had 7 power cuts already in Harrogate.
No, I didn't know
My
that.
daughter lives in Harrogate. We were talking to her last night,
You see,
and she said the power's been off 7 times.
But we know this is acclimatisation. We know this is how they do it.
Yeah.
Read your history in Argentina and Ukraine and places like that. This is how it's done. Now I've got a little generator, but it's only a generator to keep my freezers on. You know, I'm not going to be lighting up
No.
the bloody street, as it were.
No.
I've got a chip shop. I've got 2 choices: either pay an insurance policy or let the food go rotten, or buy a little generator
Yeah.
and keep the food frozen.
Keep your food fresh.
You
Yeah,
know,
keep-
makes perfect sense to me to buy a generator instead of paying the insurance policy.
yeah.
But this is possibly the acclimatisation of, they'll do it if they want to.
Yeah.
They will bloody... I mean, when we say they, we should really say us that let them.
Us that let them, yeah.
That's what we really should say.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't... there's no way they could do this if we didn't let them.
And if you think voting Labour's going to sort that, oh no, Miliband will sort it out. They've even wrote letters to Miliband saying that if he did implement what he was going to implement, which was price freezes, that would turn the lights out. So there's a stalemate there even.
Well, no, they actually... they threatened him, didn't
they? They did threaten him, yeah. We will turn him out if you do that.
Come on, I mean, what's the old... In order to become the master... The politician poses as a servant, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's one of the oldest adages in the world, really. This system is not new. It's not new. It's never new. It's just new to you.
New to you, yeah.
Okay, look back at the quotes from hundreds of years ago, and I mean hundreds of years ago, and you're going to hear what we're talking about today. It's the same complaints. It's the same problems, and it's the same frustrations about society in general. Because really, we just want to be left alone. We just want to get along.
We do, yeah.
Just let us go and do what we have to do. Let us keep that money and spend it as we see fit.
Yeah.
And after that, I mean, there's people who want to be left alone, and then there's the system that won't leave them alone. It won't stop picking, poking, and taking, will it? It is like the proverbial legalist.
Do you know, I had a little thought the other day. I thought, everybody wants to be a millionaire, don't they? I want lotto, do the lottery. We've even got a national health lottery now and all this, and play bingo and win this and do that and the other. And
yeah, the fast track to the
every millionaire or that I know of that you can count on your hands, what do? They all work. They're millionaires and they keep working.
It's because there's nothing else, is there?
So if you think winning millions is going to sort you out, it ain't gonna.
But there's nothing else that we enjoy more, except being challenged. We like being... You like being challenged.
I do,
like being challenged. And I like to overcome the cold hurdles because we're meant to get over them. That's the idea, we're meant to get over them and congratulate ourselves for getting over them. Not run round them, not take a helicopter ride to the end. Because we don't learn anything. No. They know that we want to build. We want to build a house. We want to build a family. We want to build a future. And we want to build a life that was worth living. And we want to leave behind a memory that allows us to live longer than just our regular our life as it was. It's not a lot to ask. It isn't. No. Get out of debt and freely think. This is what philosophers and the Gospels have been talking about forever. It isn't new, but it's only for those that want it. It doesn't come knocking at your door. You can't buy it. When I first started out, I remember thinking, the YouTube. It's YouTube that's done this. YouTube has engineered me to think this way. And I was right. It did. And it gets you stuck on the things that don't matter.
They do, yeah.
Because YouTube never told me to read books. No. YouTube never gave me a clip that was more than 10, 15 minutes long when I first started watching. No. It's there for you to learn, because out of all the things that we sort of shoot at this system, at this moment in time, it still does not deny you the opportunity to know what it is that you need to know. When we first discovered this, I was embarrassed, and so were you.
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed now.
And
the first thing that I remember after about a year or two on YouTube, I can't remember, I knew. Catch 'em up, Paul. Catch 'em up. How do you catch 'em up? Well, you got to read what they read. You got to learn that solitude is what you need, so you can think, and you can learn to think, and you can throw away the chains and try and wear something that's a bit more comfortable called reality. And if you're arguing with somebody, you're not doing it wrong, because you'll never learn if you ain't listening. If you ain't listening and you ain't reading, then you're doing something different that means you're not learning. When you spend 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day on this time-stealing machine, there's something else you should be doing, isn't there? Because this is making you maintain a virtual life that doesn't really exist.
No. I know.
It's asking you to maintain it.
It is, isn't it? I hate going. I had to go on it tonight. I raced home from work tonight. I must just update myself on because we're coming on the show. I must have a quick look. I look on YouTube, blah blah blah, and it just takes your time from you, doesn't it?
It does take your time. But we do what we can, and this is as much as we can do, and we share what we can and leave behind what we can.
Yeah,
because we got kids as well.
We have.
Will they ever learn it?
I hope so. He were a great baker, were our dad. That was just for Granada, Steve. Two guys from Yorkshire, what do we know?
Exactly, what do we know?
What do we know? Not a lot. What I have learnt is I don't know a lot. But one of the things we did when I went tonight was honesty. I have learned you have got to be honest, and it's got to start with yourself.
It's got to be with yourself,
yeah,
and then be gently honest with everybody else.
Yes,
but remember, go second. Don't go first. Go second. Ask them to speak to you and respond. Responsibility. It's your ability to respond to who it is and what it is that's in front of you. Right?
Yeah.
You're not the teacher. You're the responder. And whatever you say will dictate what they say next. Make it interesting.
Yeah.
Make it exciting. Make it funny. But don't make it critical. Don't criticise. You don't like it.
No.
You don't like it. I don't like it. We don't like it.
We don't like being...
We're here because we don't like being told what to do.
No.
So why would we like other people to do that to us?
Telling people they're wrong is wrong.
Well,
it's just wrong.
And half the people in this movement who are telling people they're wrong, the person they're telling they're wrong has got house, car, holiday and pension.
Yes.
It's hard to tell people they're wrong.
It is, and they're not wrong. They're wanting to live. We want to live. We don't want to... there is living the dream. I wrote living the dream down before we started. And you've got to get rid of the dreams and you've got to start living. Because life is for living.
A dream is only possible when you're awake. For another Tuesday.
Yeah.
Our contacts will be below this YouTube video. My Facebook, your Facebook, Phil's Facebook, and every single story we've spoke about is on my Facebook page. It's good night from me.
And good night from me.